everybody. Welcome to another live episode of The Grid. My name is Scott Kelby, and I am joined by two very alive people.
Somewhat.
I don't know. I've had a rough couple of weeks. Anyway, to my left, we have Mr. Erik Dilly Kuna.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hi, Mr. Kuna.
Hey, how's it going?
Good to have you back. You were up in Canada for a while?
I was in the frozen north.
The frozen tundra. We're glad to have you back.
Stopped by immigration. Ooh.
Stopped by immigration. That always happens.
Happened.
Easy. Let me ask you a question. Is it easier to get into China, Cuba, or Canada? Any place but Canada. Hardest place to get into for Americans ever. And we have a special guest today joining us, Clay.
Rasmussen.
Rasmussen.
Yeah.
I want to say, you got to give me a chance. Clay Rasmussen.
Yeah.
Was that right?
It is.
Ding, ding, ding.
All right. Well, the Clay part was easy.
Well, it's good to be here.
Anyway, Clay is a digital tech from LA, which is why he looks so cool. And why Erik and I look so damn regular. Hi, we're the regular guys from Florida. This guy's from LA.
I should have worn some black, though. I kind of missed out on that.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, you get the black memo, huh?
Yeah, we send it out. Anyway, we're glad to have you here. So Clay is actually here taping classes for Kelby One on Capture One.
Yeah, I am. Just finished up recording a class yesterday, and it's going to go live February 7th.
That's right, February 7th, yeah. And so we've had a lot of our members have been asking about Capture One, and so we're very glad to have you doing it. You live, eat, and breathe Capture One.
I do. I use it almost every day, and for work, definitely 95, 96% of the time.
All right. And we're going to be talking about his work because he has a gig in photography that is very little known, and it is a really cool gig. And so we're going to talk about that today because it's kind of I would say it's a hidden job in the photography industry. We're talking with Jen, our producer. Hi, Jen. Jen's here today. Jen's on the moderation today. Mm-hmm. But we were talking about what a hidden gig it is. So so that's going to be one of our big topics today, is talking about this digital tech job, which is out there, and it's a really cool job. And I mean, I think a lot of people know about retouchers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Assistants, first assistants, second assistants, etc.
Yep.
But not the digital tech gig.
Oh, it's kind of a hidden one, and actually one that I didn't even know existed a few years ago. And then I kind of got thrown into it. So
I know, and it's very cool.
That's always the best, right?
All right. So, hey, got a couple of real quick shout outs. Mark's here from Skegness. Skegness. See, I thought Skegness was in Canada. It's not, is it? Because he's got a British flag next to it. Good to have you here, Mark. Stefan's here from Dusseldorf, Germany. I've been to Dusseldorf. I had a flight diverted to Dusseldorf. But Dusseldorf, I wound up spending the night in Dusseldorf, awesome town. Anki's here from Sweden. Hilmar, hola amigos. And Kevin is just obviously American. Kenneth says, my lovely wife is sending me to Photoshop World this year.
Hey,
yes,
congratulations.
Kenneth, you're going to have the best freaking time. And Andy's here from Utley in the UK. Bridget and Ben are here. Yay to the grid. Hope you all are having a great week so far. Mine just got better. Looking forward to another episode. Thanks. Glad to have you guys here. So I wanted a couple real quick things. So this is my first day back to work, really. I did show up with the grid last week, but I got that cold that everybody had. I got some funk, and I have basically been in bed for since just after Christmas. And so, I mean, I've been kind of up and around and doing little social media, but I haven't been able to come to work. So this is kind of my first day back, and everyone's been very mean to me. No, but you know what?
That's usually what happens when you leave that long.
I know, and you're that long, you come back, everyone's mad. But you know what was nice? I had all these presents. So I got to show you some. I got some cool presents. First off, Frank Doerhoff. All right, so Frankie sent me a big box of stuff. And in it, one of the things that Frank always sends are amazing Stroop waffles, which they look like little waffles. I'll show you what they look like.
I just had one today for the first time.
I'm going to eat one of these later. They look like waffles.
Awesome.
And I don't know what's inside of them, but it's something freaking phenomenal.
I think it's crack.
It's not crack, but it tastes like what crack would taste like if you ate it. Anyway, they're so good, and Frank sent this whole big box, and I had everybody eating Stroop waffles, and this is mine, so I'm putting it on top. So don't eat my Stroop waffle.
Yeah, those are awesome.
But Frank sent me all kinds of stuff. But can I show you something really cute my publisher sent me? Look at this. Now, I wish I got these before Christmas, but I haven't been in. Look. It is Christmas ornaments of my books made of ceramic. So,
that's neat.
There's my flash book, which is brand new, which we're going to give away today. Not the ornament, the actual book. And then how do I do that in Photoshop? And how do I do that in Lightroom? So that was really cool. Thank you very much to Rocky Nook, my awesome publishers. By the way, we are doing some giveaways. Well, we are going to give away a copy of my book, The Flash Book, right here. Whoa! Here it is, right here. Flash Book, #1 best-selling book on Flash. Go get it now. It's about $20 on Amazon. Worth $5,000, $6,000, easy. What else?
And this, the Platypod Ultra.
And
the multi-accessory kit for the Platypod. These things are awesome.
So that's what we're giving away today. Those are our gifts to you. And
Melanie's here. Melanie's going to be a guest, I think.
Melanie Kernfavilla's here. She says, hi, everybody she's from Long Island.
Long Island.
Hello, Melanie. Welcome to the show. Melody's going to be our guest on the grid next week. So Melody's coming. She's doing a class, and she's going to be on the grid. So we're very excited to have her here. And I think we're doing blind photo critiques next week.
Sweet.
So everybody get pumped up for Melanie to just trash your stuff. What do you think? She going to trash it, Jen?
Oh, she's gonna trash it.
Oh, yeah. Jen says she's going to trash it. Totally. All right. Got some other goodies. Look at this. Dave Williams. So a lot of you guys know Dave Williams. Dave Williams got me the Byron Burger from UK. There's an awesome burger chain. They're like Five Guys to the Brits. Byron. And the whole is a cookbook of Byron's burgers.
Nice.
And tell me he doesn't know me. He got me a burger patty maker. Nice. So it makes perfectly round little patties.
Patty Buddy.
Stuffed. It's Patty Buddy. It's Patty
stuff
Buddy.
them and
Not
everything.
giving that away. Frank, more chocolate stuff. I did an interview with Matthias over at How to Become a Photography Rock Star, and look at this shirt. If I didn't get it till today, or I would have worn it on the grid. Look at this black T-shirt in my size and everything. Look, that's his logo, Photography Rock Star logo. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Right? So if you didn't get to hear the interview, it was really a lot of fun. He's from Austria. And so we did the interview. It's a radio interview. You can go to my Facebook page, or maybe Jen will post a link to it, or maybe she'll just ignore it. Anyway, we don't really know. Anyway, lots of goodies. And look what Roberto Pisco got me. The Walking Dead. I have to read it to you. It's the Walking Dead official cookbook and survival guide.
Nice. Yeah.
So, because it's just kind of, you don't always
You never know when you're going to need that.
You never know when you're going to need that.
You might need that.
Zombie
You never
apocalypse
know.
could happen at any time.
Hurricanes.
All right.
Speaking of Dave Clayton, Dave Clayton's right there. Good evening,
Dave
chaps.
Clayton. Good evening,
Yeah.
chaps. I love when he speaks to us like using British words we don't understand. Good to see you. Glad you're here. Graham's here from Scotland. And JF Leclerc is here from very snowy Mont Tremblant, Quebec. Dang. And he even got the Canadian flag in there. Victoria Pavlov. Hello, Victoria. Lots of love from us. And she says hello from Atlanta. The ATL. And Floyd's here from Hawaii. Boy, everybody's here. Steve Martin's here from who knows where. He just says howdy.
Howdy.
Hi, Steve. Okay, a couple quick things. I asked Eric to be on the show today because Eric, so you guys know Eric is an iPhoneographer, but Eric also has DSLR equipment.
Oh, yeah.
And Eric has been getting into shooting rockets, and he was able to, through Eric ways, to be able to get, and he has a way of getting stuff done. He has Eric ways.
It's called persistence.
Persistence is what it is. He was able to get permission to shoot a SpaceX launch. Well, on the last SpaceX launch, not the one the mystery one from last week, the secret one.
Yeah, the Zuma one. I was
Not
not
the
here.
Zuma
I was
one.
in Canada.
But-
But I would have shot that because that was cool. That was the night one.
Right, but this
Yeah.
was the day launch. And what Eric did was, he got permission, he got extra permission now, and you were able, so tell us where you mounted cameras, because he had cameras.
So, yeah.
Everywhere.
I got permission through NASA because it was a NASA mission. It was a NASA mission that SpaceX was ferrying. So basically,
Okay.
SpaceX launches their rocket and their capsule to the space station.
Right.
For NASA. So it's a commercial resupply mission. And they send that payload to the space station. So through NASA, was able to get clearance to basically go out and set up on the pad, as well
Okay,
as
stop right there.
Wow.
He says it. He just says it like
Just
it's
says it
nothing.
so casual.
He
It's
set
on
up
the
a
pad,
camera on the freaking launch pad.
yeah, it was cool.
How did you trigger it?
So what you do, I've got some behind the scenes. I'll show you like what you do and stuff. But basically, what I was able to do is you go out way before. So this was one of these missions that got. We actually had it pushed 3 times. So went over, drove over to the pad. You get out there, you set up your equipment. Then it got pushed. and then you go out, you check your batteries, you check all this stuff, it gets pushed again. And then it just kept on getting pushed. This one got pushed 4 times before we were able to actually have it.
All right, let me see behind the scenes
But,
shot of where you set up.
So basically, like here's a shot of like that's the launch pad. You can actually see the rocket is laying horizontally there. They don't put it vertical till right before. So you have to like pre-focus basically where you think the rocket's going to be.
Oh, so the rocket's laying sideways.
Yeah, so the rocket's laying sideways. So I know, okay, the arm's going to come up like this. This rocket's going to lay right here, right in here. So this is my camera down here.
Okay.
This is actually both of my cameras when I first set it up.
Yeah.
But then what happened is it got pushed, and I didn't have enough batteries for this camera to survive the whole time. So this camera had to go, and I had to leave this one. And this one actually is on a platypod.
A platypod?
Yeah.
No.
So it's actually, and this is people setting up. These are other media setting up their cameras. And what I actually did was keep my camera very low to the ground, because I use a platypod. And then what you do is I actually staked it into the ground with camping stakes. So the platypod's great because it got those holes in it.
Right.
So I was able to just drive those stakes into the ground and then tie them.
Is this so it doesn't blow away?
Yeah, because your camera will blow away. The sound pressure wave would just knock it way over.
And,
Really?
And
Yeah.
Eric, what about the heat? Do you have to use a heat shield or anything
No,
like
you
that?
don't have to. Not the way where we're set up. I'll show you. Maybe
The heat goes off to the left?
Yeah, the heat goes off. So I know that the rocket's going to go up vertically here.
Yep.
And the exhaust is going to blow out of the exhaust port here and go this way.
Okay.
Which is actually why I set up my camera the way I did. I set it up to where I would get a blast of the rocket, the actual blast, and then the rocket going up to the right. That's what I knew I wanted. I kind of walked into both of these situations. The launch pad, I knew a shot I wanted. And then I got access as well to shoot on the top of the vehicle assembly building.
So the
And there were-
VAB,
it's like 40 some stories up. And I knew which shots I wanted. Like I was going after 2 shots, the whole thing, So
Let's see what else.
So I was able to set up the platypod on the ground. You can actually see underneath here, there's a little purple-y thing. That's
what
my
is that?
sound trigger. So what that is there's a trigger that plugs into my cable release for my camera.
Right.
And what that's doing is using sound pressure to trigger the camera. So I set a sensitivity on that to be basically very loud.
Yeah.
So when the rocket goes off, when a rocket blasts off, it is deafeningly loud. In fact, you can't even be near the pad because you would die from the sound pressure waves would liquefy your organs.
That's incredible.
It would
That's
liquefy your organs.
So,
That's incredible.
Which is why there's no keyboards anywhere near the
staked
launch
our tripods into the ground, and then that's what you do. You just then leave those cameras there. Those cameras are left there for days upon end just to kind of weather the elements, which is one of the reasons that you could see I had it covered with a very heavy plastic covering.
Yeah, and I noticed there's some white boxes around some of the cameras on
Yes,
tripods.
yes. So you can do, some people make these rigs and these boxes, and everybody's got this guy has a stake down to like this big tie into the ground. You're just basically just protecting it from the elements.
Yep.
So you're framing up the camera, you're framing up the shot blind, you're pre-focusing, you're setting it on manual. You know what time of day, like I knew what time of day it was going to be there, so I set my exposure for that time of day, and you're kind of like, well, I've got to freeze the action, set my shutter speed. I think that the shot I went, because it was the middle of the day almost, I went 1,000th of a second at f8.
Yeah.
So I was ISO 100, 1,000th second, f8. And just, you just leave it out there. So all these guys' cameras were all just left out there. This is some of the guys, trying to frame up some foreground. I just went low, on the ground, and then you get up and leave. And that is actually the shot this is when I did the other shot that I was trying to do from the top of the vehicle assembly building.
So you're shooting that from 40 stories up?
So 40 stories up. And what I did with this one was I've got a Haida ND filter, and I was doing a daytime long exposure where I was doing about 10-second exposures as it was going up to get basically a trail.
Nice trail of the
trail of the
flame.
rocket. So those were the 2 shots I was going after, that launch pad shot and the trail shot.
Nice.
So, and it ended up, I was happy. It ended up working out. So
let's see the first one.
this was the image this is the image from the pad.
Look
So-
at that.
That's insane.
Yeah, so that was the select I had from the back.
Come
So you had the
on.
foreground, because the camera is so low to the ground. Where I noticed with my other cameras, when it was a little higher, just that 18 inches really mattered.
Oh, yeah.
People don't.
You know?
People do not realize what a
Yeah,
difference that makes.
just that 18 inches
hey,
really
Clinton
mattered.
Ferrara says the platypod joins the space age.
So that was that shot, and then this was the shot from the vehicle assembly
Wow,
building. So
check
that
that out.
was
Oh, look at that.
That is a long. This is I took one exposure just to get the background.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I did. This was 6 shots as it goes up. Now I did use Photoshop to fill in the gaps because as the shutter
Right, of course.
releases and stops, there's a little gap. So I used Photoshop to fill the gaps. But those were the 2 shots I went after. So I went after the launch pad, and then that shot. And then at the same time, you get like stuff like this where this is just the massive amount of thrust
Wow.
coming out that hole and just like exploding out the.
Is that from your 18-inch high?
Yeah, that's
camera?
I only had one. I ended up only having one camera and launch pad, so I was like
Got it.
crossing my fingers when I came back. Like, I hope the trigger worked.
Yeah,
Hope the
absolutely.
framing worked because
Dude,
you
it
have to
worked.
frame
It worked
this.
perfectly.
So
That looks
that's what
great.
I did. Is it just kind of like
And it's sharp and
Yep.
clean and.
So and then this was the shots from the top of the vehicle assembly building as it's lifting off. I used a 100 to 400. I was out at like somewhere between that 300 400, and then had a 1.4 teleconverter as well.
Wow.
So you just get shots like that, there, and then that was actually as it's going through the atmosphere. You don't usually get that, but when it goes through a certain part of the atmosphere, you get the condensation.
And what was your lensing for that?
That was all the way out at 400 with the 1.4.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's
Because
where
that's
you're
way
at.
up there. at
Yeah,
point,
that-
too.
Dude, I
was
gotta
when it
give
was
to
way
you.
up
You did
there.
a great
Yeah.
job on
So-
those shots.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, but like I said, those were the 2 shots right there is what I was going after the whole time, was just
That's
these
awesome,
2
man.
shots.
Congratulations.
So-
because so that was your second space.
So this
rocket?
is my second one where I actually got access. I've been shooting them for a couple years now.
From the
like
parking
just
lot of the
from like you're
McDonald's.
kind of
Yeah,
like
that's not the
you try to
same.
get as close as you can, but it's just not
wow,
the same.
Well, congratulations.
But
Well done.
yeah. So it's something that I'm really into now. I mean, it's such an adrenaline rush. It definitely
Absolutely.
is.
What a sight,
Yeah.
too.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to give away one of those platypods today. Hey, somebody just said they got one. I just saw here. Somebody said, I got one for Christmas. Oh, there it is. Bruce Williams says, I got a Platypod Max for Christmas. It's totally awesome. So there you go. And there's Erik with his live. Matt says, Erik, when are we getting more SpaceX photos? Matt the Wombat Charnitsky wants to know.
Wow. I mean, I'm trying all the time. So I'm actually I was shooting for NASA with this one. So I want to try to see if I can get him somewhere with SpaceX to shoot
All right,
some more
somebody out there
SpaceX.
knows somebody at SpaceX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have him get with Kuna Man.
Yeah,
Just-
I'd love to shoot more. I mean, I really love this style of photography. I'm more of a landscape and family, travel, but this I'm really into just because I'm so into space. I think is what it is. I like space, astro
He does.
stuff.
He's a nerd.
I'm a space
new rocket photographer.
Yeah,
That's what he is, a nerd
Rocket-
new
yeah,
rocket photographer. All righty. Hey, John C. says, this is my first time live, although I've watched pretty much all the episodes online. Long-time member. Thanks. Glad to have you here, John. Moose says, where's the can of cheese to top it off? So there was something that happened, by the way, during the holidays. I made a discovery I'm pretty excited about.
Oh yeah,
Yeah?
I saw that. I've been
So-
doing that cheese for. I've
Yeah,
been eating that.
if your spray cheese runs out, there's an official backup now.
There's a canister? The
The
cartridge?
canister. Yeah, I'll show you. Well, I don't have a picture handy, which is crazy. But no, so it's, what's it called? Easy Cheese by Nabisco comes in a can,
Yeah.
right? You spray it.
Yeah.
But if you run out, you can now get, it's
Rondell. Or
Rondell.
President.
It's made by President. And it's called Rondell, and it is a spreadable cheese. It is herb
It's so
and
good.
garlic and herb. Oh my gosh, it is like chicken and a biscuit with that.
yeah.
It is now fully
Wrap it up.
approved. So
They also have
cool.
a pub cheese with horseradish in it.
I have that.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's
and
killer
that's from
too.
President
Yep,
too. It's
same.
very, very good.
Yes.
But there are people, believe it or not, who judge you not on the color of your skin, but of the delivery method
Of
of
your
your
cheese.
cheese, right?
Yes.
So it's
wanna make
sure I wanna
it's a
live in
version
a
of cheese
world.
racism is what it
You want to
really
make
is.
sure you have the right
I want to
delivery.
live in a
Yeah.
world where you're not judged.
Judged by the delivery system for your cheese. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Tom has a question for you, Eric. Tom says, are the other photographers, reporters, are they friends of NASA employees? Who are the other
Well,
photographers?
so everybody there, I mean, obviously I was shooting, so I could cover it for us and, and magazines and stuff like that. Everybody out there is shooting for some kind of outlet, something.
Yeah, you just can't go,
You
"Hey,
can't
I'm
just
Bob.
go.
Can I go?"
Now, you
Show it up.
can. NASA does allow visitors to go. They have a designated area for tourists, basically, which is about the same distance than we were. You couldn't go out to the pad and set up on the pad, but you can get that close as a tourist. But yeah, you're just not going to get out to the pad.
I want to get you so close that you get sound damage is what I
Oh
like to
yeah,
get.
that'd be fun.
All right. Hey, Peter Treadway's here. He says,
I'd do
evening
it.
all. First time catching the show for ages. That's right, Peter Treadway. Everyone's been here but you, including Paloma. Hi, Paloma. Ben says, Scott, I got your Flash ebook. I was using the code given to Kelby One members over Christmas because that was part of our Christmas toolkit for our members. They could go to Rocky Nook and choose any book they want, and he got the Flash ebook. He says, I feel guilty now as though it looks so good, and I got it free. But I'll write a great review about it, though. Thank you, Ben. I appreciate that very much. It's, it's like I can tell people it's a good book, but when they actually hear from a reader, it makes a huge difference. All right. Deb Usilka's here from Boston. Hi, Deb. Deb, how are you? Look at that. Dave R. says, my mother-in-law gave me Scott's Flash book for Christmas. Best mother-in-law ever. Well, folks, let's take a short break. When we come back, Eric will still be here. And if you have any more questions for Eric or if, like Mike Kubasi, you just want to go, nice job.
Hey, thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, Mike, why aren't you working? It's still work time in Los Angeles. Mike works in Los Angeles. Do you know Mike?
Oh, nice. No, I don't.
He's the Hollywood guy. He's the photographer for, who's he shooting for now? NCIS?
Yeah.
And
Well, he'll tell
who
us.
else?
Who are you working for?
Mike,
now,
who are you working for? Who are you shooting for
Is
now?
it Unit or is it
he shoots
entertainment?
Yeah, he shoots. He's the on-set photographer for the.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Like if you
Yeah.
see a picture on the set, he
Yeah.
took it.
Oh, nice.
And
Cool.
if you and if you see promo shots or publicity shots and all, he takes that.
Right on,
and
Mike.
and he's a super awesome LA kind of guy.
Yeah.
Right on.
He doesn't look cool though, like you. He looks like incredibly. He
I
looks
doubt
like he
that.
would be
I
me
doubt
and
that.
Eric and Mike. He doesn't have any of your cool stuff.
Nah, I bet he's
I don't
cool.
think he has an earring or anything. He's just so regular. Anyway, hey, one last question before we go to break. Charmin wants to know, says, very nice shots. What type of trigger did you use?
So that was a Velo trigger. It's actually made in the UK. I had to get it from the UK. It's just a little trigger. It's specifically designed for sound. So it doesn't have a lot of uses.
Yeah,
you
other
know?
than rocket launches, what would you use a sound
I
trigger
mean,
for?
drag
so-
racing?
Drag racing?
It would
Yeah,
be
yeah,
like
yeah.
stuff that
Okay.
makes loud sounds,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
explosions, pops, stuff like that.
Pizza
You know?
delivery.
Pizza delivery.
The
We're
doorbell.
going to
Yeah,
take a short
it's-
break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the hidden photography gig, which is being a digital tech, and we happen to have a LA-based digital tech on the set with us. So don't go away. Hello from Switzerland, says Daniel. We'll be right back. Dilly dilly.
Hey, this is Justin Wudjack with 375 Photography in Atlanta, Georgia. Are you a photographer that wants to make the jump into video and you just don't know what to do? You were too nervous to hit that video button in the back of your camera, or what editing program to use? Well, guess what? We have the answer right here on this brand new course at Kelby One. We're going to walk you through everything that you need to know to understand video, to shoot video, but most importantly, to edit it and to have a final product that will add an additional income stream to your business. So be sure to check out this course.
Hello, I am Trey Ratcliffe, and I'm here to show you some new software. I just completed a new course for Kelby One for this thing called Photograph Pro. What's Photograph Pro? Well, it allows you to take any still image and animate it. You know, there's not a lot of new stuff in photography nowadays, and this thing to me is just incredible. It might look a little complex, but really anyone can do this. And just super fun. I think you're gonna have a blast with it. Oh, I could just look at that all day. Remember, this is a single photo. This is a picture I took in the Valley of Fire. Man, I just can't get enough of this stuff. I love it. I love it. And I hope you love it too. All right, well, come sign up for the class. You'll have a great time. We go through lots of examples together. I can't wait for you to see this software. So join me.
Howdy folks, Moose Peterson here in sweltering Tampa, Florida. Whole brand new class on Nikon wireless flash. Yeah, taking this brand new technology, taking all this great stuff, applying it to what we have to do as photographers, milled light, quick, seamlessly, and most importantly, having fun. So make sure you check out my class exclusively on Kelby One.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Tamron, professional photographic lenses.
Hey, pardon me. We are back. All right, Eric and Clay are here, and I'm here, and got a couple of quick shout-outs. Rick Salmon. Rick Salmon says, hi, Scott and crew. Miss you guys and see you in February. Yes, we're looking forward to having Rick here in February. Rick's going to be here doing a class and doing some other stuff and doing the grid and everything. All right, Mike Kobasi says tomorrow he's shooting on NCIS. He's doing NCIS LA. He's also working on SEAL Team and Blackish.
Wow.
So busy day for Mike.
Busy day.
But,
So he's taking a break today.
He's taking a break today. He's
Yeah.
taking a break and watching the grid. And guess who else is here? Jack Resnicki. Dilly.
Dilly.
All right, you're a true friend of the crown,
friend.
Jack. Good to see Jack here. Jack is one of the best freaking photographers and best teachers out there. And Jack has done some wonderful classes for us. And hey, Jack, I'm going to be at Imaging USA. Eric and I are going to be there next week.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see you there because Jack's always at those events.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll see you.
And Melanie's saying I've been using my Platypod for flower shots. Love it.
There you go.
I'm telling you.
And Ed says, good evening to y'all from the Netherlands. Good to have you here, Ed. All right.
So this is
Oh, here's the trigger.
That's
Hey,
that
Eric
trigger.
found the trigger. If you'll
So
jump over to...
It's VLA.io. Boy, I think Leighton's getting
yeah,
funny
he's
on
getting
the
funky on the transitions there.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, that's it. It's just that threshold setting, the delay setting, and then an on-off button. Super simple. You hook that up to your camera, and when it hears the
Hey,
loud
if
sound,
you scroll up, it'll show you some pictures of stuff like you would use it for, right?
Yeah.
There it is, shooting a bullet through chocolate.
There it is.
Of course.
yeah,
Nice.
Typical.
Yeah.
Shooting a bullet
Bullet?
through.
Dandelion.
It's always shooting a bullet through a dandelion. Thank you. And
explosions.
shooting a bullet through a
It's
rocket. There you
explosions.
go.
Yep.
It's explosions. Okay.
There you go.
All right. So our topic today
Yep.
is the hidden photography gig. So Clay he's working in LA, and he's basically hustling. He's a street hustler. And he's working now. So what was your first photography gig?
My first photography gig was I was on a PA on a set for I believe it was a gallery shoot for an NBC TV show. And I was actually I just moved out to LA, and I was working
Where are you
with a
from,
friend.
originally?
Ohio. Yeah.
Ohio?
So I moved out from Cincinnati. I was
Dang,
going to
he
school
looks
there.
so LA, doesn't he?
yeah.
You've done a really good
Yeah,
job
you've
of
done
like
fit in.
getting that
I don't
look.
think it was me, but someone else coordinated it, I guess. But yeah, I moved out to Los Angeles, and I was doing an internship with Milk Studios. And
Now, Milk Studios is huge.
yeah, Milk Studios. It's a big studio, started in New York, and there's also one in LA. Still work with them. I'm full time with them actually, and so I came out there for an internship. And while I was doing an internship, I obviously needed some cash, so I would go on set and I did a PA gig, and I did like a couple assisting gigs and some video jobs.
Now, by the way, for those of you who don't know what a PA is, it's a proud armrest.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a
Exactly.
production assistant.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. And so I helped out with that a couple times, and
You're not going
that
to
was my
believe this,
first
but a
introduction.
lot of our viewers are not from LA. So when you toss out
All right,
hip
yeah.
LA terms,
I won't use the
they
lingo
may
then.
think, okay,
Yeah.
you gotta
So-
be real here.
Yeah, all right. We're out on-
Especially for me and Eric.
Yeah.
We're dilly.
And yeah, so then while I was doing all that, I was doing an internship at Milk. Eventually, 2 months later, I got hired full-time for Milk, and I was working in their equipment cage, getting familiar with the photography equipment and the job of digital teching, which I didn't even know existed until I moved to Los Angeles. Digital teching, we were talking earlier, is just a job that's kind of hidden in the photo industry. No one really knows about it. People know photo assistants, people know photographers, obviously, retouchers, but digital tech is one of those things that just kind of came on with the new age of digital photography.
All right, so to frame up what a digital tech is, because there are so many people that don't realize there's a digital tech. Now, if you were to go to look, if you go on YouTube and you go, show me a behind-the-scenes shot of a Vogue fashion shoot or a Neiman Marcus catalog shoot or anything in like high-end, really high-end photography, you will see usually it's like a rolling cart with a couple of monitors on it, and you're always like, what's that guy doing?
Yeah.
So what is happening
What
at
is
that
that guy
secret
doing?
cart?
Well, that secret cart is, I work with those secret carts all the time, and they're a lot of fun to have in studio. Not so fun to have on location. But in studio, when you have these carts, basically I'm running Capture One. That's typically what the program that I use.
All right, let me ask you a question. Let's say that out of 100 shoots,
Yep.
and you're always working with different photographers, right?
Yeah, I have some steady photographers that I work for, probably about 4 to 5 at a time, and then people, come in that I.
Out of 100 shoots, I'm just going to use 100 as a round number.
Yeah.
How many of them are using Capture One?
I'm sorry, Capture One, 99.
So for high-end photography, they're all using Capture One.
Yeah,
How many
Safe
times a
to
year do
say-
you work with Lightroom?
This past year, I worked with Lightroom twice, and I used Leica Shuttle once.
You may pack up your stuff and leave this set right now.
know.
No, it's okay.
I know.
No,
I'm
I think
sorry.
I mean
I'm
it's
sorry.
I mean we all know that Capture One is a very high-end tool. It does some really cool things. I love the color grading stuff that Capture One does. I think it does it at an amazing job, at an amazing level. The color grading stuff that you can do is just sick.
Yeah.
But it's so that many people, that percentage.
It's really grabbed a hold of, especially photographers that I guess maybe come through Milk. They like to have Capture One because I think everyone with the onset of digital photography, whenever Phase 1 came out with their digital backs, that kind of just
that was the host program
they were
for
like-
those digital backs.
Yeah, those digital backs came out, and that you could tether with that program. And then Capture One started integrating more camera systems into their program, and after that, people just gained familiarity with the program and started using it. But there definitely are a lot of photographers who are still using Lightroom, of course. Both times that I used it was with pretty prominent lifestyle photographers, and it seems to work for them because they're running off and shooting cards because they're we're at the beach or in the canyons or something like that, and
Right.
they don't want to be tethered because they're simply just running around like crazy getting
Right.
those lifestyle shots. And so for them, it doesn't really matter as long as you download the cards into the computer and they can view them and apply adjustments. But everything else typically is Capture One. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me what it is like. Let's say that I go to Milk and I say, hey, I'm going to be shooting and I'm going to be shooting live. I'm going to be shooting at Milk and I'm going to be shooting tethered.
Yep.
What are you? So I'm the photographer. Let's say Eric's the first assistant. So
Yep.
Eric's moving stuff, setting up stuff, working with the lighting, measuring stuff. Where do you fit into my gig?
Well, if Eric's setting up with the lights, we would probably discuss, if it's the first time I'm working with you guys, I would discuss with Eric probably about your preferences of camera. If you like autofocus on the back button, half release, whatever it is, you're kind of like, maybe I'll get some pointers from Eric about your personality, how much you want me to be hands-on, how much you want me to back off. Me and Eric will talk about who's dealing with camera setup, who's changing lenses for the photographer. Most of the time, that's me as a digital tech. And then I'll be off in my own corner setting up my cart, which on big setups can be a cart like a Magliner. We use Innovative carts. It's a really cool brand out of California. And then I have my tower with.
Are they expensive?
Yeah, they're expensive.
Of course they are. Of course they are. You know
Everything
why? Because when you
expensive.
said out of California,
Yeah,
I'm
out of
like,
California.
Yeah,
It's
you got to add
expensive.
that California tax on top
yeah.
of it, an extra bit. So I'll 3 monitors, 2 on the cart, and then a satellite monitor, which is either I'm screen sharing to with my laptop, or I have like a 30-foot cable, like an HDMI cable that runs to it. Okay. And then I'll set up the camera, whether it's Canon, Nikon, Hasselblad, with a phase back sensor or a phase back.
you didn't say
phase
Sony.
Sony, for whatever reason, hasn't really been something that I tether with often. Usually, that's a card camera. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but like if
We know what it is. We'll move on.
no.
All right.
It's a great camera. It's a
Okay,
great
so
camera.
you've got 2 to 3 monitors.
2 to 3 monitors, yeah.
All right, and what are on your monitors? Capture One.
Capture One, and I mirror. I basically mirror the monitors. Sometimes I mirror 2 of them, and then leave. Capture One has a viewing window that I can leave up on one of them, maybe just for the clients.
All right, and so I'm shooting, and the images come up. Now the images come up on your rig.
Come up on my rig, and then I'll have a monitor. Either I'll have the satellite monitor right next to you, or I won't. Maybe depends on your preference if you like to see them come in. Some photographers might not want to see them until they put the camera down, step around to the machine, and check it out. But most of the time, it's right there next to you, so you have your own monitor with a keyboard that you can tool around on, and then I'll be back at the station in control of Capture One as well as you. So
Wait, back
Yeah.
back it up.
yeah.
Back it up.
Sorry.
All right. So what do I have control of on my monitoring keyboard?
So I'll mirror our monitors together.
Oh, so we're both working on the same copy
So what
of
I'm looking
Capture
at
One?
is what you're looking at. Exactly. And then I'll run a long cable to you with this monitor, and it has a USB cable along with it. And I can set up a keyboard and a mouse there for you, so that you can not even leave your Apple box or your stool or whatever you're sitting on to shoot, or your area. You can control Capture One so that you can scroll through it, make selects, do a little color adjustments if you want to.
Are your photographers sitting down a lot?
On Apple boxes sometimes, yeah, in studio.
They're shooting full length.
Shooting full
So they're
length, and
down low.
then they stand up for some crops and stuff like that
Gotcha.
too.
Alrighty. So, hey, Kim asks, just a quick question. Does Kelby One have courses about Capture One? We do now.
Yeah.
So February 7th
February 7th.
is your course on Capture
Yeah,
One.
yeah.
And Clay lives, eats, and breathes it. It's his job, his full-time job, and he Chiquinando says, guys, don't tease me into Capture One. I'm so happy with Lightroom. Don't make me wish something else. Oh, Chiquinando, don't worry, it's okay.
Well, the good thing about Capture One is it does have a lot of similarities between Adobe products like
It does.
Photoshop and
A lot of the
Lightroom.
keyboard shortcuts are the same.
and
I Capture One on my machine right here.
And it just takes a few hours of tooling around, and you can get the gist of it. Hopefully, the class helps you out. Helps the process go that much quicker.
Oh, of course. All right. So, what is it? So I know that I can look around on my images. What are you doing in Capture One? And I'm not being smart when I say any of this. Anyway.
No.
I'm not being like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
No. But so, what's your job?
Well, my job is essentially.
Hey, can we see your monitor? Can we? So what you would do is is go up here.
Yep.
Right. Next one over, and go connect to Video Control Room 2.
Got it.
And they're gonna ask for a code. Maybe Juan will tell us what the code is. It's asking for a code. I never had it ask for a code before. And there were
9925. Okay.
Juan just whispered it.
Oop, no.
9935. Okay.
It's never. It generates a new code every time.
Boom. I think
All right,
we got it.
there it is.
All right, let's see. There we go.
Boom.
Okay,
Cool.
so
Right
we can
on.
now see your screen there.
Yeah. So you'll see all of this in the course. This is kind of the session that I used to present yesterday. And so what we have here is our library panel. This is what talks to my system folders inside of my computer. I created a session folder right here, Kelby One session. And I've built a couple subfolders to go inside of the program. And right here, we're inside my raw subfolder, and inside that, I'm at my test images. So essentially what's happening on set is my computer is connected to the camera that is being shot so that I can see the live images come in as they're being shot. This is beneficial for many reasons. Most reasons are so that the photographer can see what he or she is doing, and so that the client can see what he or she is doing. And for me, I can also make adjustments on these images as they're coming in, and say, here, I shot some flowers in your guys' studio yesterday. So I'll go to shot 1, if it will allow me to. Oh, doesn't want to. Well, I don't know why that, but I'll take you to these test images. So what I do is basically, as we're shooting, I'll make adjustments to clean up the image, to basically enhance the raw image to the photographer's liking. Maybe he or she will have his or her own curve that she would, or he or she would like to apply to the image as well. We work together on that. But as long as I set a curve or an adjustment to the raw image, the next images that come in will maintain that adjustment. So that's what I do essentially. And then on top of that, I
So you're
organize the
you're
media.
kind of giving me a look. Like if I say, so I could say to you, now you're not doing a retouching job,
Not necessarily, no.
but I could say to you, hey, can you punch up the contrast and maybe throw a green tint on it? Just let me see, or a cross processing or something.
Absolutely.
You could give me a quick look at what an image looks like with some effect put on it.
Yep, absolutely. I can do all of that, and
So I'm not really messing with the computer much at all now on the shoot. You're doing that for me.
yeah, a lot of, there are photographers nowadays who started out as digital techs, which is the funny thing because digital tech has actually been around for almost 10 years now. And so it used to be, photographers were always former assistants, maybe, most of the time. And but now you're getting some photographers that use the digital tech. And so they actually know the programs themselves pretty well.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of photographers out there that
They'll
are
tell you put on an S curve, or they'll tell you exactly what they want.
Exactly.
Now, you're responsible for backing up all the work?
Exactly. I'm responsible for backing up to all the hard drives that are given to me on set. I use a program called ChronoSync. Seems to work with a lot of, it seems to work for me. I know there's another program out there, but I just know that a lot of my buddies who are digital tech use ChronoSync for whatever reason.
ChronoSync?
ChronoSync.
I'm not familiar with ChronoSync. You know ChronoSync?
No. But
It's great for mirroring drives. So you
So
can
writing the exact same thing to multiple
Yeah,
drives?
exactly. You just create the folders, drag them up there, and hit Command R, and they
All
start
right.
copying.
So one
Sweet.
thing I'm concerned about here is that someone watching this gets a clear idea of what the difference between a retoucher is and a digital tech.
Yes.
Because I think some people will go, well, if you're adjusting the images, you're doing retouching. You're but you're really not. You're running the computer.
Yep. I'm what they call setting a curve throughout the day. Setting a curve. Everyone likes to say setting a curve. That's basically just, you could call it a little bit of retouching because you are enhancing the raw image. There are days on set, there are clients that I work for that I do have to drop things into Photoshop throughout the day to clean up. So it is important to have some, Photoshop skill with digital teching because you might be asked to swap a head or maybe clean up a little skin or something like that.
Oh, so this is before it goes to a retoucher. They can see, okay, we're on the right track with
exactly.
this shoot. 'Cause you're doing this is commercial
What it sounds
photography.
like,
You're
yeah.
shooting. You're shooting for a client. So the photographer's there. The client's shooting for a client, and the client might want to go, well, what's this going to look like on a different background? Do you do that? Will you drop it on a different?
Exactly. I can do cutouts, drop it on, or maybe we're shooting up into the sky, but because of exposure, the sky's a little blown out, so I'll have to bring that back down, all those little tricks. And, usually it's stuff really quick, like photographers on set usually don't have much time. So I just do it so they can get a rough idea. They peer into my monitor real quick, and they're like, yeah, looks great, cool, moving on. And so usually it's pretty crude, very quick, the retouching on set.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
So there's a question that came in from Matthew there. Matthew's asking, is Capture One faster than Lightroom? And he's right. Is Capture One?
I don't think it's any
faster than Lightroom, or
as far as
it's
processing
just
goes,
preference?
I'm not too sure if it's
I
too
don't-
much faster.
I don't believe
So it's just kind of like
nah.
Tethering, I think, might be a little bit more
Okay.
instantaneous, just because Capture One champions
Tethering's
itself.
more solid in Capture
Yeah.
One. It doesn't
Yeah.
disconnect as much as Lightroom's does.
Yeah.
But speed-wise, because I have Capture One. I've used Capture One
Yeah.
many times. I use Capture One for something different. So I'll go ahead and capture the images. This will just give you a funky workflow. I'll capture the images in Lightroom.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make my picks in Lightroom, and I'll take, like, let's say I got 14 or 15 shots from a portrait session I like. I'll take them and I'll throw them into Capture One because I like the way Capture One by default applies a look.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why people like Capture One so much is it has its own look.
Yep.
And so I have to tell you a little backstory in this. So we're here taping a class. Peter Hurley's taping the class. I may have told this before. I may have said this before on the grid. So longtime people might go, "Oh yeah, I heard you say that before." But so Peter Hurley's shooting, and his images are coming up on screen, and I'm sitting there with Brad, and I'm like, "Dude, what the heck? His images look so good. They look like is he shooting raw? And like, yeah. And I go, is he shooting medium format? No, it was like a Canon 5DR or something.
Right.
And we're like, what the heck is he doing? And we looked over, and he was using Capture One.
Yeah.
And so what Capture One does is their default raw is different than Lightroom's. Lightroom's is very flat. Lightroom says, we're not going to put anything to make your image look good. We're going to give you exactly what came out of the camera. But Capture One says, nope, we're going to sharpen it. We're going to add a little bit of clarity. We're going to add a little bit of contrast. They've got their own juice that makes the image look almost done when you take the raw photo.
And you can actually get rid of that if you want to. You can just go to DNG file neutral.
Yeah,
and that'll give you a good.
It'll turn off all the extra
Yeah,
juice.
by default, it'll give you.
But everybody wants Capture One because of the juice.
Yeah.
Because that's a big thing. And I would say if I had to pinpoint it. Oh, let me ask you this. How many, and this will be interesting. So we're back to 100 photographers coming in and shooting. How many of them are still shooting a digital back, like a leaf back or some?
A lot, yeah. A lot.
Like a percentage-wise, 30, 40, 50?
I'd have to say it's 40, 60, something
40,
like that.
60,
You know,
okay.
a lot of guys and girls photographers as well use Canon and Nikon, and it's not often that I work with Leica digital cameras, but it does happen. Work with Sony cameras as well. It seems like the digital backs have been kind of reserved for in-studio settings.
Yeah, so let's talk about studio. Is that more likely to be a...
Well, in Los Angeles, I find myself on location much more than in studio. But yeah, in studio, it seems like we're going to be using digital back more than...
Yeah, and you got to use Capture One on a digital back. And I remember taking a leaf on location.
Yeah.
And I tried to use the monitor on the back of a leaf
Oh,
camera.
yeah, no, it's garbage.
It's
Yeah.
garbage. I mean, that's the only
garbage.
way to describe it. It's absolutely unusable.
Yeah.
If you don't tether with a medium format digital back, you can't see the picture.
Yeah, you better rely on your lighting skills and your metering skills.
You better rely on your film world skills.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So I got a Chicanendo saying, so the first assistant sets the lights, the digital tech sets the curves, and the photographer does what? Push the shutter button?
No, okay, so this is a very important question because this is a very important question. It's a very good question, too. Photographers in the commercial world, they have such a large business to run. I mean, they are in charge of everything. When you get to set, you are only seeing 20% of that job.
Right.
You are only seeing just to get the picture. The rest of it is you don't even consider the 3 weeks beforehand of the phone calls, the conference calls, of the casting.
Putting a team together.
The casting, putting the team together, talking to his assistants about the setup. Like, he or she is on the phone constantly. I know because I update a website for a photographer that I also work for on set, and I listen to his phone calls, and he is just constantly talking photography, calling his assistants, having his assistants send equipment lists to production houses, getting bids back, getting quotes back. I mean, photographers at this commercial level do so much more than actually take the picture.
Right.
So that when they get to set, they have to have their team on board with what they're already thinking. He has to provide the references and the agency layout of what the agency wants for the client too, and all this kind of stuff. And so he or she has to have trusted individuals as assistants to be able to do the lighting, because the last thing he has time for is to physically stem up a light and aim it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, also, you have so much money at stake.
Yeah.
Like, when you do a big commercial shoot like this, there are so many people. When we've done a big commercial shoot, it's thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
You don't have time to come in and fool around. You don't have to try to come in and go, let's try something different.
Yeah.
You better come in going, we're doing something different, and here's the plan.
Yep.
Because you're paying stylists, you're paying hair,
Yep.
you're paying makeup, you're paying models, you're paying the rental of the studio, you're paying first assistant, second assistant, third assistant, you're paying a digital tech. You've got a giant team of people that are all relying on you to pull off this thing. And there's so much, like you said, that goes into it beforehand. And this digital tech thing that nobody knows about is one piece of this puzzle.
This is one piece of it, because, I might be setting a curve on set, But when it actually goes to retouching, the photographer is going to be talking to the retoucher, being like, oh yeah, just add a little bit more green. I know we did it on set like this, and you got this JPEG as a reference, but trust me, do that, send it to me, and they're going to go through rounds and rounds of retouching. Now, when it comes to editorial photography, say you're doing a fashion story in Vogue or something like that, that's when the photographer...
It's pronounced Vogue you.
The Vogue you, yeah. That's when the photographer really... that's when the photographer really actually experiments. And that's... a lot of photographers actually prefer those kinds of jobs because they feel that they can actually throw their character and their spin on
style.
photography. But when it comes to commercial photography, I mean, there's a goal, and that's to make the client happy.
Yeah, and there's a client saying you're, and I
hired you for this.
And I think that a lot of people forget that there's an art director that says, here is our vision, and that photographer is usually hired to carry out their vision, the vision of the art director, not necessarily the vision of the photographer. Now, they may hire a photographer that they like because that photographer does a certain style.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, the art director you're building that picture for somebody else, the client. Hey, we are going to take a short break, but we got lots of questions coming in. We're going to get to some of these here in just a moment. I do want to mention before we jump to break, because we're jumping to break here real quick. If you get a chance, Dave Williams, who, by the way, gave me my Patty Buddy and the Byron.
Burger.
Dave writes a column on my blog, scottkelby.com, and Dave wrote a really great article Tuesday, I believe it was, yesterday. Wrote a really great article on stock photography. So he does stock work for Getty, and he's also done for some other people as well. But I mean, Getty's kind of the cream of the crop there, and he's got some really good insights into what sells and why it sells. And there's just some things I was really glad to hear him say and explain that you don't get to read a lot. So go check out Dave Williams' article over, and he writes a column every Tuesday. So if it's Tuesday, it's Dave Williams Day on my blog, and he does a great job. So
He's
go check.
got some great articles on there.
Oh, he has done an amazing job. So that's every Tuesday. There it is. Stock Stream is the article that it's about, and hey, just scroll down a little bit, if you will, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to read it off screen. Down a little more. It's the third picture down, because he had a great story about that shot right there. And he was basically saying, to my eye, its technical qualities are there, and but in terms of creativity, I don't like it, but it sells. And that's really what it's about, is like what kind of images sell and how you have to think. And it's really, really good. Go check it out. It's over at scottkelby.com. It's on Tuesday, January 9th. Go check out his thing. Hey, we're going to take a short break. We got more questions coming up. Jen is here on the set taking your questions and shaking her head when I said Vogue you.
Vogue
Jen's
you.
just over there like. We got to mic you up so you can just
Every
I know.
time.
Juan, you can make that happen. Don't you know people, Juan? Juan says he knows some people.
Know some people.
I could be yes, could be no. Anyway, really interesting stuff here. So stick around.
Yeah.
We're still going to talk about the digital tech side of things, because I think this is really interesting. Stick around. We're live right here on the grid with Clay Rasmussen and Erik Kuna. Dilly.
Dilly.
Your true friend. Have you ever wanted to learn Photoshop? Of course, everybody wants to learn Photoshop. You know why? It's Photoshop. But here's the thing. It just takes so long. Or does it? What if I could get you up and running and really have you start doing the stuff that people really want to do, and I can have you do it in just 1 hour? If that sounds good to you, come watch my class. It's called Learn Photoshop in just 1 hour. We're going to cover so many things in just 1 hour. You are not going to believe how much you're going to learn. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to start at not knowing Photoshop. An hour later, you're going to go, son of a gun, I know Photoshop. Come with me on this journey. It's 1 hour that will change your life, will teach an awesome new skill, and it's exclusively here at Kelby One.
Hey, do you have a mind to travel? If so, you have come to the right place, my friends, because I have a great new class here on Kelby One called Travel Photography Essentials. In this class, I'm going to cover planning, gear suggestions, photo tips, and workflow. I'm going to take you around the world to some of the favorite places I visited in my travels to more than 100 countries. I'm going to talk about the mood and the feeling of the picture. So check out my class, Travel Photography Essentials, only available on Kelby One.
Hey gang, this is Dave Black telling you, you've got to come check out this latest video class that I've made here at Kelby One. We are covering sports, all the gear that I use to cover all the different events that I do. We're talking 20 sports like football, baseball, basketball. We're talking volleyball and Olympic sports like swimming and gymnastics, track and field. They're all going to be in this video. We got adventure sports, we got motorsports we're covering, all these kinds of things, and how I use the gear, from remote cameras and magic arms and radio poppers to which choice of lenses that I'm going to use to cover all these different sports, and a few little kind of wild items that I might actually show off while I'm there. So come to Kelby One, check out my latest class. It is amazing, and if you are into sports, you are going to love it and learn a lot here at Kelby One.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
Hey, we're back. Scott and Clay and Eric and Dilly.
Dilly.
Glad to have you guys here. And we're talking about this hidden photography gig, which is being a digital tech. Now, you're not going to be a digital tech probably in Covington, Kentucky, but you can be a digital tech in Atlanta, Tampa, in the big cities where you're going to have. Now, one of the reasons that it's great that you're working at Milk is they're a very busy digital studio. There's different clients in there all the time. Mm-hmm. Do you know many photographers that have their own full-time digital tech?
I do. I know a couple. One that comes to mind only because I have friends that work for him. David Sims, I believe, has a digital tech full-time, and he's a very big
Very nice. I wish I had a digital tech.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because
I could barely get Eric to come down to this
Yeah, right?
shoot. Right?
Yeah, right.
Is
But,
there a rocket involved? No, thanks.
No, I'm not coming.
But full-time digitechs do exist. It's always been the thing of having a full-time first, and I think having a full-time first always kind of has precedent. But nowadays, with shooting so much digital content, digital techs have assumed full-time roles.
And Robin's photo says, I wonder how many times a day Scott gets eye rolls from Jen. Well, let me tell you, it's quite
At least two.
A bit. Anki,
So Anki was asking, I guess the Capture One only comes to Mac, not for Windows?
It does come for Windows.
Yeah,
It
okay.
does.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's
So
what-
it is Windows capable, just the same as Mac.
how often do you have a photographer come to the set where they want a Windows version?
I haven't experienced it yet. So
Right.
I mean,
So
not
anyway,
to,
So
Johan's asking.
wait, let's look for the ultimate unicorn. How many times does a guy with a Sony come in and ask for Windows?
Oh, boy.
yeah.
Never happened. Okay.
So Johan's asking about, can you use Luminar 2018 plugin with Capture One?
I have no experience with Luminar, but we did take a look, and apparently you can some way.
Yeah, there's all. If
fashion.
you go
Yeah.
to Google and just type in Capture One
you
plus
can.
Luminar,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of workflows there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's native, but I think there's all kinds of workflows that I'm
So it
seeing
seems
one
like
here.
from what it was, is it kind of acts very similar to ways other plugins work.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I know there's lots of plugins for Capture One as far as presets goes, templates, and all that kind of stuff. But as far as using things like Luminar, I have limited experience with that, or
And
none
then
at all, really.
Tony is saying, hey, Scott, just signed up for Kelby One and love it.
Oh, Tony, I
Yeah,
love
Tony.
you. Tony, there you go. There you are. Well done, Tony. Glad to have you here.
And then look at, I got Ramy's in there, which I was shooting with Ramy up in Canada last week, saying,
Oh, my
you know,
gosh.
hey, Ramy, how's it going? So
That's it.
Yeah,
Just
that's what
a
we
shout
got.
out.
Hey, Ramy.
All right. And so Kim says, I don't know Capture One, so it's great to watch it first and seeing that it's good and what we can do with it. Yeah, and you got to realize Capture One is a straight up competitor to Lightroom. It is more expensive. It's $299, right? $300, about $300. But it is a high end program, and I think the learning curve is quite a bit higher than Lightroom's. It's not designed for, hey, I'm just getting into stuff. This is for someone that is a little bit further down the road. And I would say that while in a high-end fashion world, it is very, very common to see Capture One. In fact, in high-end fashion and things in commercial photography, you're more likely to see Capture One than you are to see Lightroom. It has a very, very small part of the market versus Lightroom. Lightroom is giant, millions, literally millions of users, and Capture One doesn't have millions of users, But so far, it's for there's a group of photographers that really, really like it, and it's there. They swear by it.
Yeah,
and it has gotten better and better and better over the years. It really has, and I don't want to knock it in any way. It's just different. It is for a different market. I'm not trying to say it's bad on any. Let me put it this way: if I thought it was a bad program, we sure as heck wouldn't be doing classes on it. It is a very good program. It's just for a particular market.
Right.
Jack Resnicki says he will not be at Imaging USA, but he will be at WPPI. So I'll be close to WPPI. My wife is taking me to Vegas for vacation.
Nice.
But it was either go to WPPI or go with my wife to Vegas. Guess what? Going to Vegas with the wifey. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So David says he finally found time to watch live. Well, thank you, David.
And then Roger says he will see you at Imaging USA.
All right, Roger, I will see you at Imaging USA. Now, guys, we are basically running out of time. Not because we're out of time, but because you've got a flight to catch.
Yeah.
Because if you leave Los Angeles for too long, they send guys in black suits with dark glasses to bring you back. They don't want you getting out with knowledge. Because this is secret LA knowledge.
Got to be on set tomorrow, so got to get back to it.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm
definitely
going to ask you a question that nobody asked, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Yep.
And you don't have to be specific.
Yep.
But if someone was looking to get into this gig, I'm going to ask you two questions. Number one, how does someone wind up becoming a digital tech? Do you need to start off as an assistant first, or?
First off and foremost, learn your programs of Lightroom, Photoshop, and Capture One. I think Capture One and Lightroom are extremely important to learn, so I would suggest using that for your own personal archive so you get to know the programs. As far as getting a job, I did it a roundabout way. I got in with a studio like Milk. There's several studios in New York and LA that have digital
studios in New York. Oh
that have digital capabilities within them. And so I got a job with them, and I packed gear for a year, long nights, long days, and then eventually I got thrown on set. Another way is to reach out to photographers and work for them directly as assistants or as interns or studio managers, stuff like this, and then at the same time kind of push your digital skills onto them. But yeah, being an assistant and then also working at a studio are probably your best two options.
Okay.
All right, one more question to ask you, but I'm looking at an answer somebody asked up there. They were asking if Capture One works with a Nikon D700, which is a much older camera, but
it should.
I'm not sure. Let me look. I'm looking under supported cameras.
Take that down to
Nikon.
Nikon.
That's what I need. Nikon. Here we go.
I mean, it should be. I would imagine the D700.
Yeah, D700 was a very popular camera.
Yeah.
And the answer is yes. It is supported. Dun, dun, dun.
So the nice thing about Capture One is that it comes out with patches pretty regularly.
Yep.
That add things like that, like new cameras that it can work with. I remember with Capture 110, that's when I think the D4S or the D5S came out, or the the D4S came out, and then the 1DX Mark II came out. And so as soon as those cameras came out, Capture One released a new patch, probably 2 or 3 weeks later.
Excellent.
2 weeks later, yeah.
Hey, Rod. Ickeldot says the Capture One is much better for tethering than Lightroom. Agreed.
Yeah.
Lightroom's tethering is it's the most finicky thing ever. Rod Greennose says the Dave Williams article on stock was great. I'll be looking for his Tuesday articles on the Kelby site from now on. So
now it sounds like with that tethering, you've never worked with anybody tethering in the Lightroom.
I have actually.
Yeah.
The funniest thing is
2 people.
Yeah.
I thought they were
this
running
was
cards,
early on. We tethered with it through, using a Hasselblad digital back. With Hasselblad's digital backs, you have to use Hasselblad's software. Hasselblad's digital backs will not be supported by Phase One because they're a direct competitor. Why would they? So that's the thing. So the only major camera system that doesn't really work with Capture One that I can think of is the Hasselblad's digital backs, which is funny. Right?
Well, I mean, it makes sense.
That makes sense.
But you can set up hot folders so you can capture with focus. Set up a hot folder in Capture One, and it'll pop up in Capture One. So there are ways around it.
Hey, Rick, I'm going to get to your question in a minute. You said, please explain high-end in more detail. So, Rick, we're going to talk about that in just a minute. We're going to take a break because we've got to let you get to the airport. But Erik and I will carry on, answer some more questions here for you to wrap things up. We'll get you to the contest and giveaways and all that kind of stuff. So First, thank you so much, Clay.
Thank
were
you, guys.
awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you
for
for
being here.
your
That was awesome.
insights into what you're doing. And I think there's a lot of people that didn't know there was a digital tech job.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna wrap up with my final question, and I promise to let you go. We'll go to break. And you can be vague about this, but pay-wise, for what a digital tech makes, is it close to what a first assistant makes, a second assistant makes? Is it more than what a first assistant makes? Is it a good pay range?
So
And you can be
this is a touchy subject.
I know it's touchy,
but it is.
Well, I'm not trying. That's why I'm trying to give
It
you
is,
an out to where I don't need like a dollar number. I don't need like it's $22,500 a week.
No. For me personally, I'm on a salary with a studio. So, but as far as freelance digital techs, they make very similar to what a first assistant would make, and that rate, if not more, if they have their own gear. One way that digital techs make a lot of money is if they have their own laptops and their own computers
And they rent
monitors
that as
and they
part of
rent
the
that as
gig?
a package.
Ooh.
That's where digital techs can make a very lucrative business out of it. And say you have an editorial rate and then you have an advertising rate, and
Okay.
it only goes up with advertising rates. So,
Of course.
it is always different.
Is does the studio have a day rate? I mean, it would be published someplace. It's not a secret.
Yeah,
right?
you can probably find it on their website. I haven't actually checked in some time, but I think we have rates that range from $1,000 for digital techs to show up with cameras and a laptop to up to $2,500 and above, depending on how much gear that they want. Yeah. So
Dilly.
Yeah.
You're a true friend of the crown.
It can get very, very lucrative for businesses. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. We wish you safe travels. And don't forget, his class comes out here on Kelby One on February 7th. So if you've been interested and you're kind of curious about Capture One, or if you're dying to use Capture One and you already use it, make sure you come and check out his class on the 7th, because he lives, eats, and breathes it. And we are excited to have you here doing that. And we will be seeing you soon here on Kelby One.
Well, thank you, and thanks for watching. It was a lot of fun. So.
Yeah,
Oh, great. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
We're going to take a short break. We come back. Me and Eric will be here. There'll be an empty seat over here. It'll be so sad. Maybe Jim will run over or something.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll see you guys in just right after the break. Don't go away.
Meet Max. Max is a flat tripod base that is the perfect companion for low-angle photography and stability in unusual spaces. Max can be rigged up with your heaviest cameras, lenses, and accessories, as it can support up to 300 pounds. And at approximately 5 by 8 inches and only 13 ounces, Max can fit in almost any camera bag or backpack. Max comes with 4 spike feet, which enable better grip on surfaces such as rocks, branches, and concrete. It can be mounted or tied to freestanding objects and is also compatible with quick-release devices to keep it close while on the go. Photographers will love the ability to place Max almost anywhere, and macro photographers will be able to get close, really close. You can also set up time lapses and long exposures in no time. In the studio, photographers can use multiple Max bases to create a portable studio setup. Max can cast low-angle light on your subject or background and is easily kept out of the frame. We know Max will be the most versatile tool in your gear bag. Visit platypod.com for more info.
Hello, my name is Trey Ratcliffe. I am addicted to HDR photography. My favorite tool in the world has come along. There's a new version. It's called Aurora HDR. I absolutely love this tool. Pretty much every situation has a place for Aurora HDR. I just made a multi-course lesson. The best secret thing about it is that it's fun, and it's easy, and it's very approachable. I've learned a lot over the years. I've made a lot of mistakes, so now you can learn from my mistakes and see some of the best ways to make images. Come on over and watch my class exclusively on Kelby One.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Hey, we're back. Scott and Eric here. And
Look at that.
Like it's just us two. I can't believe how quick Mary got that.
Boom.
Boom, it was done. Hey, I wanted to just give my own blog a shout out here. So I did a post on Monday about my best guest blog post of 2017.
I saw that. That was cool.
I had some amazing guest bloggers. So we're blessed to have this program that every Wednesday I invite somebody in, another photographer. It's their blog for the day, and they can write about anything they want. A lot of times they'll write about their work. Sometimes they'll write about technique.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is. And so I picked my very favorite, and I think they're the best guest posts of the year. And if you really want to just, it's like somebody curated 10 or 12 just amazing articles from different people. So that first one, for example, is from Tracy Sweeney, where she does a whole guest post on which lenses she uses for children, newborn, and family photography. And there's Steve Brazil talking about concert photography, but he goes into so much more about the heart of photography. Jeremy Cowart reveals one of the most interesting things about high-end commercial photography. He gives you a peek behind the curtain at something that would be an incredibly frustrating thing that you have to live with at that level that you might not think of. And on and on. There's just so many good articles from so many great photographers that if you get a chance, and Rob had a whole great thing with the best questions.
So it's a great place to go. There's a bunch of different, and it's like curated.
And there's
like
Gavin Hoey and Moose Peterson, and just really inspiring, informational, great photos, great stories, great everything.
So there's a question that kind of follow up. Like you said, Jeremy did an article on the high-end photography. And Rick is actually asking a good question here. Please explain high-end in more detail.
Okay.
So can you explain high-end in more detail?
Sure. Rick, I would say high-end is when it's kind of what we were talking about, where there's a lot of pressure to the shoot. In other words, there's clients involved and money involved. And it's not you shooting your cousin. You shooting a picture of a portrait of your cousin is not high-end photography. But you shooting the cover of Vogue is high-end photography, or shooting the cover of any magazine. When it's a production and when there's like money on the line and you've got an investment, and some of these things, you're investing thousands of dollars to get the shot. Now, sometimes it's tens of thousands. There are photo shoots that happen every day that have hundreds of thousands of dollars for some of these big commercial projects. That's why he just mentioned you're renting a digital tech and a couple of laptops for $2,500.
Yeah.
That's one line item in a long list. So I would say that a high end is when you're doing high end professional work. Like you're working for Toyota, you're working for Nissan, you're working for Ford, and or you're working for where there's a lot of money and pressure behind the gig.
Right.
So that's what I would say it is. And at that level, people are using Capture One, and it's nothing to kick Lightroom. You guys know I love Lightroom. I use Lightroom every day. It's not for your Capture One's not a wedding photographer's program, though I'm sure there are wedding photographers that use it. But that's not the market that it's designed at. It's not designed for wedding photographers. It's not designed for lifestyle photographers. Although I'm sure anybody can use Capture One that buys it.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like they're not going to ask you a test question and go, wait a minute, you're not using it for the right thing. It's like a camera. You can buy a camera that's designed for sports and go shoot newborns with it. No one's going to say that can't be done. It's just like the Canon D1X is the 1DX is not designed for shooting newborns.
But you could.
Yeah, so anyway, that's what it is. And Ahmad says, hello from Morocco. You guys are amazing. So where were you when I was in Morocco a couple months ago, Ahmad? We could have hung out. So thanks.
And then Bruce has got the Canadian flag in there. Hello from the frozen north.
All right, there you go, Bruce from the Canadian flag. All right, so guys, we're pretty much run out of time. John Stein says, does Capture One support DNG? I'm going to say that it does, but it would be easy enough to figure out. There's this program called Google.
There's this thing called Google.
And what you do, and
I'll magic.
I'll explain how this works. You type in first the name, Capture One, and then .dng, and it comes up with a whole list of things. And let's see. And it appears that it does. Okay, there we go.
So Rick was asking, I use Lightroom CC, so I'm curious to know if the price for Capture One would be worthwhile.
So Rick, here's the thing that you would find out. I'll tell you straight up. So it's $300 versus $10 a month for Photoshop and Lightroom. So you're going to say, I'm going to say it's $5 a month for Lightroom versus $300 for Capture One. Here's what you're going to find out. There are things you like better about Capture One, like the tethering, and there's going to be things that you miss, like, wait a minute, it doesn't do that? Oh my gosh, how can it not do that? Because it's a different program. It doesn't do all the stuff that Lightroom does. There are plenty of things that Capture One does that it does not. You might not like the default look, in which case you could turn it off and you could fix it. There's also an article, a great article in was it in Photoshop User or Lightroom? I think it was in Lightroom Magazine, which is, both of those were our magazines. In Lightroom Magazine, written by UK-based photographer Martin Evening, where he compared Lightroom and Capture One and basically said, if you turn off all the stuff in all the juice that they add, they're identical. But then he also shows you how to set up a Lightroom preset that looks just like Capture One. So you don't have to change programs. You just have to read Lightroom Magazine and be a Kelby One member because it's made for Kelby One members.
And that's where, like, Kim 13 saying, I think they were asking earlier about when the class, or if we had a class for it. And they're saying, I don't know Capture One, so it'd be great to watch it first. So watch the class that Clay did to see if it's good and then what to do with it.
Oh, I'll tell you, it's good. But I can't tell you that you're going to go, oh my gosh. I like the color grading, but you have to be at a particular part of your career to understand
and then
color
also
grading. And
need that in your work.
And need color grading
like
because
for your work.
Color grading is most often used in high-end portraiture, like Annie Leibowitz's production people use a lot.
Right.
Or you're doing fashion where it's used a lot. Outside of that, you're not going to use a whole bunch of it on weddings or regular portraits, and it's a bigger can of worms. But it's not. Oh, it's better. You should get it. It's just not. It's just different, and it's just like when people used to ask me, "Oh, hey, Nick just wrote."
That's a good point.
Yeah, Nick.
He wrote the Capture One usually has a 28-day free trial. So you can check out that. That's a great way. You test it out, see if it works for you. Yeah, 28 days is a pretty good free trial. Of course, you could start that 28-day free trial like on February, 8th or whenever his class comes out.
Yeah, wait till his class comes out. Wait till the class comes out, then go download it.
Start a 28-day free trial.
Then you got a 28-day free trial. Anyway, all right. So hey, we got to run. What I wanted to show you is how to win stuff. What we're giving away today is.
We got the Platypod. We got the Platypod Ultra, which this thing's great. It's a little small, little.
Did you use the Ultra or the Max?
I used the Max because I needed to really stake it down.
Oh, that's right. You had to hammer it down in the ground.
And then the multi-accessory kit with this is great too because it comes with the bigger strap.
Yeah, the longer strap.
It's got that
rubber thing. Put it on your car and stuff.
So, and then your book,
my flash book,
is buried underneath the
gifts. Under here. Le Flash book. But if you don't win, you can still go buy it. Take your Amazon gift card. You know you got one. Everybody got an Amazon gift card. Drink up.
Yeah. Actually, I did not.
You didn't get an Amazon gift card? Ridiculous.
I think people know I've got such credit.
He's got such credit.
I got credit with Amazon.
At Amazon. All righty. So how do you win those? Go to kelby1.com/contest. And once you're there, just tell us what. Randomly send you one, and it'll be the wrong one because that's how it rolls. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for us. There was one more thing I wanted to mention. Oh, this is big. Photoshop World registration is now open.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to go to Photoshop World, it's coming up this year. It will be in the end of May. Right there it is. And we're back in Orlando, and we are doing the whole thing in the beautiful new convention center at the Hyatt Regency Orlando, which is right next.
Which is also the hotel.
It's the host hotel.
Host hotel and the place we're doing the convention, which is like awesome that you're all in one place.
Yes. I also want to tell you, because we got this note today, that hotel is filling up faster than any hotel has filled up in Photoshop World history.
Well, I think it's helping that. I mean, everything is right
there. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to go.
Convenient. And it's such a nice hotel.
And that's why we chose to do it, because we were walking through the convention center at the Hyatt last year to get to the Orlando Convention Center, and the convention center in the Hyatt is beautiful, and it's brand new.
Way better than the other one.
Way better than the other one. So this year we're doing the whole thing there, and we're all together, and it's very cozy, and there's great restaurants and great everything.
Yep.
So
that's where all the instructors are staying and
all
everything.
the instructors are there, me there, Kuna's there, Jen's there, Juan's there. You can stay in Juan's room. If you can't get a room, Juan said, right? Am I right? Oh yeah.
Oh,
Juan-
yeah, you heard
Juan
it.
said,
You
absolutely.
heard it.
Stay in Juan's room. So, so make sure that you go and get it now. Stay at the Hyatt and get your room block. You know, if you go to the photoshopworld.com, there's a travel page, and that way you get the special discount because we have a deal.
Yeah, there's a link right there. You can get
There's a link
in the
right
room
there,
block.
so you make sure you get in the room block and all that good
And you
stuff.
get like discounts and
Discounts and free parking and
free
fun,
Wi-Fi and
free
all that
Wi-Fi and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. That was a really interesting show.
Oh yeah, that was very.
The whole world
interesting.
of digital tech
Yeah.
is and I there's so many people that are saying, how can you make money in photography these days? You know,
Yeah.
Well, we uncovered another way today. So Jen, thank you for your excellent moderation. You were moderate and at the same time liberal.
Yes.
Juan, you're very jibby. Meredith, and I think Leighton was switching the show
He
today.
had to be because I saw some crazy.
Yeah, some crazy transitions. You can always know when Leighton's
Oh,
back there
boy.
because the transitions come out of the woodwork. Anyway,
That was back in the
but I think
70s.
Meredith was vice president of transitions.
Yes.
She was there if the president of transitions was unable to fulfill his duties. All right. So Camille says, hi from Poland. I love Capture One, and I fell in love with it after the free trial. I'm working with color in Capture One just rocks. I agree. And Melanie Kernfavilla says, I will see you guys next week as she will
See
be
ya.
our guest
Yeah.
on the grid. Oh, yeah. We're looking forward to seeing you, Melanie. It'll be
Yeah.
a whole lot of fun. And thanks, everybody. And we will see you.
Yep.
I said that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Take us out, Eric, because I just
Yeah,
blew it.
so
I blew
we'll-
it.
We'll
I
see
blew
you
it.
guys next week on the grid.
Take care, everybody.
Bye. There's
blew
one
it.
of those crazy trends.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Westcott, professional photo and lighting equipment. This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Westcott, professional photo and lighting equipment. This segment of The Grid